We're glad to see everybody here today, and we appreciate those of you that have made adjustments. We're trying to continue to support all our athletics, and one good thing is that the basketball team is winning, and they're hosting a state playoff game tonight, and so we adjusted a little bit for their games as well. And Coach Till's been very generous with his time, trying to move things around so that we can continue to support all our athletics here at Richmond Senior. We are excited anytime to have folks come and hear about the good things going on at Richmond academically and athletically, and tonight we'll be doing a little focus on football. I do want to recognize some of our folks from the community from our central office. We have our superintendent, Dr. Jeff Maples, is here, and our director, assistant superintendent of human resources, Dr. Julian Carter, is here, and some of our board members, our board chairman, Mr. Wiley Mabe. I saw Mr. Mabe. There he is, hiding behind the post like the kids do. We also have Ms. Bobby Sue Ormsby is right here, Mr. Pat Campbell, and Mr. Jerry Etheridge. I just saw Jerry come in. Oh, there he is in the back. All right, glad to have all of our members of our board that can be here. And at the conclusion of our meeting, certainly want to invite everyone to come over to the gym where we will be hosting Butler High School in the first round of the state playoffs for basketball. So at this time, I want to turn it over to Coach Till to kind of tell you where we are with Raider football.
All right, guys, like Mr. Butler said, really pleased with everybody coming out tonight. To me, this is a time of year. I like to do this kind of separate from our parent meeting because it's a way to talk about all the different elements of the community. Obviously, I see John, and he's got some of the Warrior guys here, and just all the different elements of our community kind of working together. Several of you other guys have helped coach, I know, with the Youth Raiders. And Mr. Butler mentioned our school board. We have several folks here, elected officials, folks in different, vying for elections, just different places. And I think getting everyone in this community is such a great opportunity here in Richmond that's so different anywhere else, to get everybody on the same page in some ways that our football program can help in our entire community and the vision we have here to work together. You can see there our slogan this year. That has it's been brought to my attention that's my middle name in the middle. In the middle, that's my last name. That was not intentional in any way, shape, form, or fashion. The whole point there is what we're trying to drive home with our young men this year is whatever it is, finish the task. Right, whatever it is, if it's the class that you're in that's tough, but have the idea and the mentality to finish the task. The end of the year, obviously last year, this comes a little bit off of last year where we want to finish and win a state title. All right, don't stop till it's finished. Don't be satisfied until whatever the task is you set your mind to is finished. Some of these young men, that'll be college aspirations. All right, don't stop till that's finished. And we're trying to drive that home with all of our young men at this point. We go over this slide. We'll go over at parent meeting also. I like to go over it to begin with whenever we start a meeting that has to do with our football program. And the program mission here since I've been here is to build championship men. All right, we feel like our championships will follow. We've done that. We've had conference championships to be able to follow that model, and building our young men first, investing in our young men first in all phases of life. And the idea behind this is with our kids is that by the time they're done with this program, 10 years from now in our community, the community will change for the better, all right? Or if we don't do it right, it'll go for the worse. But what we do here will have an impact on our community, all right? 5 to 10 years in the future, you'll really be able to tell what we did as far as building our young men. We talk about best grades, ACT, the guys, juniors right now, rising seniors in our program just took the ACT today. All right, we've done 4 weeks of prep for that and to get prepared in addition to what we've done in the school building. All right, weight training, physical development, skill development. We'll talk with our leadership guys here, leadership development, team building, family atmosphere, and accountability. And again, earn it, whatever it is, be willing to do what it takes to earn it. All right, build championship men, championship program will follow. All right, and we talk about that with our chain philosophy, every link being strong, everybody within the community, within our program, doing everything they can do to be at their best. From this past year, proud moments, we want to kind of revisit. 14 seniors had the opportunity to continue their education and play football. Our team GPA at the end of the year was a 3.09. All right, ACT prep classes, I just mentioned that, have continued. Social media engagements was a huge part of this past year and what we're able to do and what some of the ways we're hoping to involve other folks from our community in the future. All right, we have a new website in addition to our Facebook, our Twitter and Instagram profiles, and I'm going to read off some stats that are just incredible to me. And Chad is here tonight. Chad Suggs has had a lot to do with that for us, as well as several members of our coaching staff having a lot to do with this. All right. Our Facebook page was created in March of 2019, so 11 months ago. All right, 11 months ago. Followers as of 2/18, all right, 3,400, almost 3,500 people following our Facebook site. And you can see this up here highlighted. During the months of the season, we reached between 50,000 and 100,000 people just from our Facebook site alone, all right? Hey, guys, I don't know if y'all realize following social media, that's incredible, all right? And that's not just people in Richmond County. I mean, you realize that because y'all realize what the population of Richmond County is, correct? All right, so that's people outside, statewide, well, what's going on there? That's unbelievable. The highest number was 100,752 people we reached via our Facebook website, our Facebook site. All right, it's estimated our page will be higher in 2020 based on that growth that's been very steady since then. All right, and it offers the most exposure for our sponsors and so many folks who've been involved. You guys have probably seen that. Our website. All right, after the site was created in September, we've had an average of 530 unique visitors per month since it was created in September. So that was a little bit later. All right, the forecast is, again, that those numbers go up. And on that site, we have all of our Max Prep sites are linked in there. Our Facebook is, and also our YouTube channel. And you've seen a lot of the videos that we've been producing here lately this year. All those things will be linked to the YouTube channel and are on there. You can go back and just go chronologically all the way back through and see all of those things. Okay. Also, got obviously Twitter, Instagram, and all of our sponsors, and that will actually grow next year. And this is something I want everybody to understand. We're going to put banners on our website next year, to where those of our larger sponsors will actually have a banner presence on there to be reached as people go to watch our videos and things on our website. They'll have an ability to see those sponsors as they're clicking on there. Twitter, the impressions, the number of times that the content is actually displayed to somebody, okay? So for October through November, 321,050, all right, impressions is the average. 321,000, all right? That's incredible. October impressions alone, 262.2 thousand, all right? November impressions, 379.9, all right? Again, what we're doing here with a fan base from a, for lack of a better way of saying it, from a business model standpoint with our program, is reaching out, is really being representative of our county in so many ways and reaches so many folks around the state, all right? And these impressions are completely basically generated from us. You know, we aren't paying for any additional. You guys who are on Twitter, if you know, you get on Twitter, it says, kind of ad related or featured, tweets, whatever. This is just all completely organic, right? Stuff that we've generated. Our followers, people from here, are sending out, and it's reaching out around here. Instagram was created in July of 2019. 1,753 followers, all right, a total of 761 posts. And YouTube, during the lifetime of it so far, the YouTube channel, all right, 29.2 thousand, all right, different views. Watch time of over 655 hours during these months since it was created in September, all right? And we have subscribers, so that's views, but we have people who are actually subscribed, 320 just regular subscribers, so they're going to get the content every time, all right, we display it. Just want you guys to kind of understand how powerful that's been for us as one of our bragging points. I just made one bullet, but I wanted to give all those numbers so everyone understood that, going forward, how big that is. This year, because of that, I really believe because of a lot of that, because of our atmosphere, the game attendance has increased. Our game day lights upgrade has been a big part of that. I've been asked by so many coaches around the state, Coach, explain to me that light show. Explain to me what's going on. And it's having an impact around the state where people are realizing, hey, this is important on Friday nights. Friday night's becoming an event for their communities. How does Richmond do that? What are y'all doing? What's going on? And it's, again, our reach is going out from Richmond County around the state of North Carolina and even into the southeast. I've had some guys in South Carolina and Georgia call me about that as well who've seen our stuff online asking about it. With that, the thing I want to point out here is that's a huge part of team. all right? I didn't have anything to do with the lights upgrade other than, they talked to me about it and said, hey, what do you think? And I was like, oh, that's great, all right? Glenn Sims, who is actually retired now, all right, had a lot to do with that, all right? Our county office had more to do with that than anybody else, and that idea came from them to me to say, hey, what do you think about using the last part of the grant for this? So again, a team approach, all these folks having different ideas going in, and then obviously the fireworks that were added in the playoffs, added by someone in our community. So it's big that we're coming at this from a team standpoint and having an effect so far reaching. We hit our 500th win in school history this year, all right, and we have several juniors who now currently have D1 offers. Again, going back to our proud moments just from this last year, things we want to build on. Our players opening doors at elementary schools. They're speaking at elementary schools. They're going to be reading at elementary schools and have Thursday class we have with the EC students. I don't know if you guys realize this still, but we still on Thursdays in the first semester, we'll have our EC students come in and they do basically our routine with us. On Thursdays with our guys. The same routine we do on Tuesdays and Thursdays, kind of a modified version. Our guys teach and coach them through that, really push them. And it's awesome just to come in to be lunch. And those kids, hey, Coach, we're coming to see you today. Give him fist bumps. I got one of them that does a little Michael Jackson, whenever he comes in every day. So it's a great thing just to see those guys' excitement when they're going through that. And I actually can't believe I got a Michael Jackson on tape. I should have probably watched out for that. I put the team GPA on there twice by accident, just realized that, but we are extremely proud of it. Special Olympics participation, we've done that with our guys, going to continue to do that this year, did it last year. And 100% club this past year in the summer stayed over 95 guys, 2 straight years, over 95 players in our 100% club in the summer. This past year, we also received a $10,000 grant from Melvin Ingram's participation in Pro Bowl. We're working on that currently since he was in it again this year. Still working on that grant. We won, and this was a part of our social media engagements. Won the Wear It Like a Pro contest where we had 24 helmets free of charge paid for by Rydell and the Panthers through their foundation. And that's something that, again, helps save us in our total and entire athletic budget this year, really big. During that time, this summer, you can see the signs, pictures there, where the Raider football signs and the Raider baseball and the coaches' signs were updated at the stadium. Mr. G.R. Kinley helped us update those, and he's done a lot here over the last several years, but he helped us update those. Really proud of how well that looks. One of my favorite things is, and you guys who know me well know I get here pretty early in the mornings. When I come down that hill, my lights will hit that sign, and it's reflective. And so every morning, it's a great reminder of the tradition. Every single morning I drive in that has been here and been present in this program. Our coaches were able to attend the Clemson football clinic last year, as well as the Glazier football clinic, and I put that on our points of pride because it helps make our links strong. Our coaches continue to grow themselves, learn, stretch, get with guys around the country. That's going to be extremely helpful to them to continue to be the best that we can possibly be. Additional opportunities provided for our young men. We went to UNC last year for 7-on-7. UNC also had OLDO camp we took our guys to. South Carolina one-day camp where we took our guys down to Columbia, gave them that kind of exposure and lessons to compete against some high-level competition. We went to the Powerade 7-on-7 in Charlotte and competed against some of the top programs in the country. And that was a great experience. Really felt like that helped prepare us going into this season. Extremely hot, too. Had to prepare us from a conditioning standpoint, too, on those turf fields for 2 days. We hosted several 7-on-7 events, and really want to give a big shout-out to Mr. Mabe and his cooking crew because that's actually around the entire state of North Carolina. Guys know that, hey, you go to Richmond for 7-on-7, man, you're going to get something to eat. They take care of you, when you go over there. I mean, I've had guys call and talk to me about, now, y'all feeding us still, right? Y'all gonna make sure of it. I know Mr. Campbell was there too, and you can't really see that picture, but you can kind of see everybody who's involved there. That's a big group of folks who really make things work, along with a lot of our kids, and our kids enjoy eating well those days too. Coaching staff is coming back, and I got the varsity guys here tonight who can make it, who don't have practice with other sports, and I'll have those guys just stand, and all you guys remain standing until we're done calling everybody out here. Varsity offensive guys coming back this year: Greg Williams, Brad Denson, Jay Jones. Coach Schuler is actually at practice. Coach Kempis McSween. All right. Coach Schuler is actually at an event tonight as well at RCC. Coach James Johnson. And Coach Johnson is actually going to call the defense this year. People said, how's that really going to work, Coach? You going to be all right with that? Well, I trust him, whether I'm going to be all right or not. That's a whole different thing, but the program's got to come first. So I trust Coach Johnson implicitly, Coach Milton Sweeney, Coach Chris Campolita, Coach Dennis Toney. And what I want you to realize is that is our entire varsity staff coming back to coach again next year. We didn't lose anybody, and some of those guys had very significant opportunities. Guys, please remain standing. JV head coach Pat Hope, all right, coming back. Coach Kevin Alfonso, Coach Chris Dennis, and Coach Justin Jackson. Our ninth grade, Coach Tavon Jones, Travis Byers, Julius Bowden, and Coach Tony Terry. Several of those guys, again, had other things going on, and I didn't ask anybody but the varsity to be here tonight. But for you guys to see that staff continuity and how big that is for our kids to continue, this verbiage and learning from those guys, I really want to give them a hand and tell them how much we appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Now, with that, we are looking to fill 2 JV spots. You can see we only have 4 JV coaches there. We did that last year and kind of team taught, so to speak, between the varsity and the JV guys. We are looking to fill those. We will, I talk, very close with Dr. Carter and, of course, Mr. Butler in our building about what's available. We want guys to be in the school system so that they can get to mentor the young guys all through the day, in addition to football. So that is one thing that's really big for us. We are looking to fill 2 spots there to try and make our program, again, the top-notch program in the state of North Carolina. 2020 Leadership Council. These young men, several of them are gathered here. A few of those guys are in basketball tonight. But I'm going to have them come up here, guys, and just stand at the front as I call your name, all right? And I know, again, some of these guys won't be here. Caleb Hood, C.J. Tillman, Jacoby Baldwin should all be in basketball tonight, along with Kellen Hood. So Jaleel Davis. Stand right over here, buddy. J.D. Lampley. Jerron Coleman, Tremel Jones, Austin Moore, Jamari Brody, Caleb Wilson, and Amir Webb. You guys stay up there, but I want to give them a round of applause, please. So we changed our selection of this group this year, all right? And what we did is we wanted the guys to apply, all right? We've done it for 2 years. It's kind of a known factor in our team. We wanted guys who really wanted to be leaders. Who are the guys who are hungry, who really want to lead this program, help push these guys? We had an application process. After that application, we read through those. All these guys had outstanding, and even, I'll be honest, the guys who we didn't select had outstanding applications. We were really impressed with all the applications we got. Lets us really know some of the things we're talking about and doing is really working. But what we did in selecting this, we looked at the grade levels. Do we have the grade levels represented on our varsity the way we want to? Last year, I think we only had 3 guys returning. We're trying to get some grade level responsibility there from the guys. Also positions. Do we have offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, DBs, wide receivers, quarterback, running back, all those things so that we've got leadership in different places on the field where it'll be important to us. Look at their character and their grades. All these guys are excelling in those fields, and we're really proud of them and feel like they are representative of what we want our guys to understand the standard is of our program. Playing time and then field leadership. Some of these guys had more playing time than others. We felt like it was important to have guys who've had to work maybe really hard, and some guys who've been starters for 3 and 4 years. So that experience level, they can relate to all of their teammates, whatever they're going through, whatever situation they may be in, and be able to lead them through it at all times. And these guys are going to be great representatives for our program. Obviously, the bar's a little bit higher because now you know what their faces look like instead of just their number, all right, because we got helmets on most of the time. So you can help us hold these guys accountable, and I know they're glad to step up that standard. Thank you again, guys. Appreciate you. So I like to go over this every year to kind of as a reminder. Our yearly guaranteed cost when it comes to football is approximately $31,000. We really can't do anything about this. All right, this is what it basically costs to run this program at its bare bones. All right, and you're talking about helmets, shoulder pads, girdles, knee pads, the things that are necessary to play the game. Game undershirts underneath, game socks. With the way things are done now, the huddle software, which is how we do all our video analysis, whether it's breakdown, exchanging film, all the things we do from a highlight standpoint is how we do our recruiting nowadays. right? So that's how we send the stuff out, to make sure our guys get it seen, get exposure. That's actually going up, and it's awful, guys. If you want to make some money right now, all right, and you got the capital to start, you start a new software sharing business to compete with Huddle, all right? If you can get it off the ground for 2 years, all right, there's a huge share of the market to be had, because those jokers have almost a monopoly on it. They're going up, and they're costing more for storage. And I don't mind saying this, if everybody understands it. And that's probably one of the cheapest things for them is, the storage that they charge you for. So that's actually going up this year. We don't know exactly what it's going to go up to, but I know we're at 95% of our storage usage. So it's got to go up somehow for us to have next year's game film in there. Our coaching gear typically averages about $7,500 when you're talking about 18 coaches and outfitting those guys professionally. Helmet reconditioning every year usually runs between $8,000 and $12,000, depending on how many helmets, how many of them get rejected, how many face masks, depending on the year. Honestly, the longer you play, the better you are, the more likely your helmet reconditioning bill is going to go up, because those helmets are getting more wear and tear on them from the games. All right, so that's just the reality of it. The polos for these guys, you can see how sharp they look. I guess this is probably one of the things that wouldn't have to be a necessity up there, but we feel like it's a necessity to represent our program a certain way. And so that's why our guys look the way they do, and they do that every Friday. And then you'll see them at the banquet also look that way. 7-on-7 gear, when we go to all these 7-on-7s, we outfit the guys in team gear when they go there as well. Other maintenance things that don't have a price tag that year in, year out have to be taken care of. Weight room, the benches and bars. You can look right there at that bench. Those benches were actually recovered 3 years ago. All right? Now, whether we got somebody bad to do it, or it's the fabric, or whether it's just the wear and tear that's happened, that's what, one of our benches looks in there like right now. So the wear and tear that's happened there over time. And I've been on several places as a strength coach. Typically, the benches have to be recovered every 4 to 5 years regardless. All right? Now, this is 3. I would have liked to have gotten at least a whole another year out of that. But, you're looking at 4 to 5 years almost anywhere you go if you're using those things like we're using it. The number of hundreds of kids daily are going through there in the weight room like they should be. That's going to get wear and tear. Field equipment, whether you're talking about sleds, chutes, dummies, goalposts, things that have to be maintained. And I would like to bring this up because, I don't want anyone to ever think when we're talking about the things it costs to run this program, a first-class program, not just be in existence. Those are things we all got to be committed to. That picture there is actually where one of our sleds, we can fix it. It takes 4 bolts. I can get it fixed. But just so everybody kind of realizes, some of the things that have to happen there. Field surface and drainage. You guys, it's a great time to talk about drainage. Coach Ramsey would tell you about the baseball field in right field. This time of year, as much rain as we've got, you guys probably know about the drainage in your yard, better than you want to. And so those are things that, we have to address as it wears down over time, and just things that for the safety. The reason we talk about that is the safety, field surfaces, safety conditions, and safety issues for our players. Practice jerseys, game jerseys, and pants, that's not a continuous cost, even though every year you have to look at it. We actually this year won't have to get new game apparel for the first time in 3 years. We'll probably have to start doing that, the year after that again somewhere. But we typically, with practice gear, we end up okay because we'll hand down some of the game stuff. But every once in a while, like this past year, we had to get a few practice jerseys to fill in the needs that are happening there. Field paint and video equipment, again, as technology changes, video equipment and things have to change to compensate for that as well. So again, I know this is boring, but I like to go over the entire program during this time of year, and everyone kind of have a realization of all the different parts and moving parts in the program. So the state of the program. Last year, we talked about it being pivotal. State of the program this year, I think, is we're trying to move just from being good to great. Now, the tradition here has always been great. So I'm not trying to get that misunderstood. The tradition is still great. But, being great, being excellent. And that's what I've talked about. How do we achieve excellence instead of existence? All right, we have a program that's going to be in existence. We're going to have football. We're going to have participation of football. But what is the difference in being the top program in the country versus having a program? All right, we have football every year as a sport people participate in. And I think the difference is something that should be a huge advantage for us here in Richmond County, and that's being able to do it together. Having more people involved. You saw the advent, how we brought on several folks to do different things. Wayne's here with the tailgate this year. Those kind of things, getting more people involved is going to help us be that much better. So how do we do that? What's the plan? I think the first thing you have to do is you have to focus on what are the things that grow a program, right? And I like that. Rev gave me a devotion this year. Rev, where'd you go? All right. Rev gave me a devotion this year I read during the season, and it was talking about a tree. Every devotion was talking about, you know, and obviously it was a Christian devotional. You guys don't understand what my faith is, but it was a Christian devotional, and it was talking about, you know, using the analogy of the tree. And then I got to reading our leadership book, and that's one of the things that's in the first few chapters is talking, and it just hit me. You know, this is a big part of growing this program. The first thing we do is we nourish the things that matter to the growth of the program. We have to identify those things, know what those things are, what is necessary for growth, what will produce the fruit that we want to see in the games. And that's where we should put our energy. Once we find out what those things are, we figure those things out. I think those are things like facilities, coaches' education, player development when it comes to weight room, you know, human development of them as young men to be the best they can be. Gate receipts, obviously. And that seems crazy. Well, Coach, you know, you're talking about development. But we can't provide for our guys if the first thing we're not doing is generating an atmosphere that people want to come be a part of, all right, on game nights. And those gate receipts go up. Feeder programs. Like I said, I already acknowledged guys who are coaching in both our feeder programs here in the county. It's huge. I mean, it's huge because, you know, recreational football has basically, you know, gone away for the entire county, right? We still have some pockets there, but so what are we doing to develop and nourish our feeder programs so that those guys are developed? You look at the guys who are going to be seniors this year. All right? Many of those guys were very well developed in our feeder program several years before I even got here. All right? I have no problem acknowledging that was done prior to me coming in here 3 years ago. And it's laid a great foundation for our coaches to build off of and to work with. Booster Club membership and involvement, okay? So I think, you know, we're selling tickets, you know, Booster Club memberships this year quite a bit, but, you know, how are we involved in the Booster Club, all right? How are we meeting and setting up committees? You know, Patrick and I have had these conversations before. How are we getting in and helping Patrick help run the Booster Club? What are the things we're doing from a committee standpoint to help alleviate some of the day-to-day things that go on to help boost our program, Booster Club. Amazing how that works, all right? Boost our program. Honestly, how are we getting involved in the Booster Club so that our coaches can coach instead of fundraising 365 days a year? Let that sink in real quick. Because there's not a coach in this building who enjoys fundraising, but by God, we'll do it. Because we love these programs and we want to make sure we're doing it. What are we doing from that standpoint when it comes to Booster Club to make sure that that's taken care of? And that's involved. That's help we can get from the community, and we're welcome, you know, opening our arms to ask you guys to help us with. Vision here, front porch philosophy. And I got this looking at, you know, and you know, Coach Schuler's, the Schulers aren't here, so the Dabo Sweeney reference is going to, you know, fall a little bit on deaf ears. They don't have as many, you know, Clemson fans in here. But the big thing here is I looked at this, and what they're doing is tracking. You can see Clemson's application increases from 2008 to 2018 during the time they're making such a great run. And you look at this. To be at the pinnacle of sports for a protracted period of time really just raised the profile of the entire institution. All right? And this is from Mark Land, Clemson's vice president for university relations, not from anybody in the athletic department. And his understanding and realization of how that visual presence and positive presence affected their entire university, their enrollment, their dollars to spend, their giving, if you go into all that, all right? There's an 86% increase in applications. I didn't put all the numbers here for the growth in giving, but it's astronomical during that time. And so what this football program wants to be for this community is that same thing, the front porch. One of the things that, it's just a small thing, but that just nicks me a little bit is when people say, they lead off with, well, we don't just do football well in Richmond County. That's absolutely true. But what we should say and how we should phrase it is, in addition to doing football well in Richmond County, we do this. We don't want to tell people, well, we don't just do like football is this bad thing that we do well. We want to accentuate what we do well and then build on it. I didn't realize how talented Richmond County was till I came here as the football coach. I did know about football. But when I came here, and one of the first things we had is before spring break, we had the day in here that Mr. Butler put together. We had so many folks singing and dancing, and I started realizing all the different talents and abilities that were present. But being the football coach is what got me here to realize that. Getting people's attention with the football program could be a great front porch for this entire community. Bringing those people's attention here, then show, hey, and, not but, and we do this too. and we do this well. Because the entire state knows about Richmond senior football. What do we also do well to piggyback off? And that's what we want this program to be for this entire community. Be the front porch so they'll come in and see what else we have available. We can build goodwill in the entire community by incorporating more people into this project. And I'm going to talk about that more in a second. And don't let negative energy change our direction. No matter what you do, there's going to be somebody on some social media or some Facebook thing telling you that what wasn't done right. I'm just going to let the positive voice be louder. We know what we are doing right. We're not going to be swayed by the fact, well, you know what somebody said on Facebook? I don't give a crap. I know what we're doing, and I know how we're doing it, and I know the quality of men that we're working with, the quality of young men we're producing. I know that. I know our DBs don't look back for the ball sometime. Oh, I have heard that. All right? John and I have had that conversation. It's pretty funny. All right? So, but we're going to continue to coach them the right ways, and regardless of what happens, we're going to love on them when it happens. All right? Part of that and understanding how to do this. How do we affect our decisions? What's our decision-making process? All right? What is one of the main things people know about Richmond County, and how are we supporting it? All right? We want to be a product-based business with that. And by that, what I mean is we don't want to take away, you don't want to sit here, if you are Domino's Pizza, you don't want to just start talking about everything else you do and forget to put your money into the pizza, or you're not going to have a business after a while. All right? There's got to be money into the thing that's bringing people in and bringing folks in. Are we thinking of how to do it best or how to just have it? What drives our planning? Is it about perception or preparedness? Is it just about the perception of a good football team, or are we preparing to have a good football team? That's things and questions we have to answer in our decision-making process. And is it systemic? Do we understand it all the way down from the youth, all the way up to our county office, all the way out to people, who are in our city government, county government? Is there a systemic approach? Are we all on the same page? Yes, we may have difference of opinions at times, right? Because that's what makes us better, is all the different viewpoints make us better. But are we systemically linked together to have the best product we can have? These are things to have everyone on the same page that can continue to make us great, and things we can continue to work on. Here's some other folks we can involve in things we would like to grow, because there's nothing like a Friday night to bring a community together. And I don't care where you are in the state, there's nothing like it. I'd like to see our band grow to 200 people. Be fantastic. A lot of those folks don't have opportunities to be involved on Friday night unless they're in the band. But like I've already said, it struck me very strongly how gifted we are in music in this county. Very gifted. I want all those folks to feel like they can have a spot and be involved. Our cheerleaders are obviously still going on and growing that program and continue to do well there. They represent us very well on Friday nights. Students, I want to get more students involved in filming, our social media, all right, our website applications, real world applications they can learn from. And a lot of our guys, in fact, some of my guys on the team want to be graphic design guys because they've taken our graphic design class here and love it. And so giving those guys applications to put in would be fantastic. Our chorus students singing the national anthem, which we do some, but it'd be great to have more ensemble so more kids can get involved on a Friday night and understand it. Big part of that is getting the parents of those students to also come watch their kids perform, excel, see the excitement that can be generated on a Friday night and bringing people together. And I've already mentioned boosters and businesses understanding, what it is to be together and how that product can help shape their business. Now, this is something I want to touch on. I want us to, and talking about this, I really want us to be a statewide example. Statewide, and I want to make sure, everybody hears this. I'm glad this is on video. I'm hoping a lot of coaches around the state see this, and we can really get this into the minds of everyone around the state. That the model is broken in high school athletics. And I don't mind the association hearing me say this. The model is broken. We've gotten so much into participation for so many different sports, which is not wrong in itself, but the model of not understanding fiscal responsibility is broken. If we don't promote high school football, we don't have other high school sports, folks. They don't exist because they are not funded without the gate receipts from high school football. They don't happen. And so if we continue as a state down the road of talking about the negative things, participation or this kind of thing, about people talk about concussions, a lot of that stuff has been, debunked since then. Several serious concerns, but football is becoming safer and safer. Are we promoting the game of football? Are we promoting the thing that's going to allow us to fiscally apply these other programs? If we're not, We've got to rethink how to do this. I've told you what's happened so far. We're starting to add more and more things that take some sort of funding without creating, and honestly, I know we've got some folks in here in public policy. One of my things I would love to see in public policy is you cannot put forth, and I got this from someone else, but you can't put forth any kind of agenda without also putting forth a funding plan for it. It'd be amazing how many less bills we probably would have come across. But my point is, that's what's happening in high school sports. We want to continue to add things without finding a way to fund them. And I think one of the main things we can do, and we don't want to take anything away from our kids at this point. They would be devastated. So what we've got to do is, what is our funding plan? Let's continue to promote high school football, continue out statewide, have people come out. Games should be sellouts week in and week out, no matter who we're playing, because people want to see kids, see participation, see a great time, and most importantly, work together in whatever community they're in. We're headed down that road, and some of the things that made me think about that is the thing the association has put forth with not using drones. I understand the safety concern with not using drones. But one of the problems is it's a promotional tool. So instead of the thinking of, hey, let's just don't do it, let's think of a way to use it. The lights, we've had some concerns. I bragged on them a while ago. We've had some concerns brought to us from other schools and things. Why are we concerned about something that's going to promote the system? Instead, do what these other coaches, like I said, who have called me from other states and all around our state. How can we do that? How can we promote? How can we have an atmosphere like that so that it continues to grow this sport and lets people feel like they're involved in something special on Fridays? And lastly, you worry that there's some negative energy out there about recruiting kids from program to program, the 7-on-7 stuff, things of that nature, all right? I will go on record right now saying I'm glad to recruit any kid and family to come live in Richmond County. Glad to do it. Not from the standpoint of our football program and illegally, but I want everybody in the state of North Carolina to be wondering, all right, how can my kid be a part of something as special as that is down there? And then to look at the jobs that are available, look at the small town community. And then, like I said, after the front porch, they come in and they see our school system and they go, hey, those teachers really care about those kids. Those teachers really want to invest in those kids and be a part of that. And I think you'd have a lot of people recruiting each other to come stay and live and work and grow their family in Richmond County. Ways we stay on top of, I touched on these, I'm going to talk about them again. So how do we get this? Youth programs. We got to be able to invest from a community standpoint in their equipment and in their coach training. All right? Not to say those guys are underqualified, but my point is they rotate coaches out just like we do. All right? How can we help those guys in training and looking at the ways that we are symbiotic with each other? Feeder programs, ninth grade football continues to be important. Facility upgrades and maintenance. What are our neighbors doing, and are we better than them? Better yet, what is everybody in the country doing, and are we better than them? Teaching positions and recruitment, and I hate Dr. Carter had to move on and go to the game, and I'm going to get us out of here so we can all be there. But teaching positions and recruitment, we have lost 2 PE spots since I've been here because of the cuts, the way the state has done some funding teachers-wise. But what that does is it cuts down coaching positions as well. So we have found ways, we've had some guys, to keep guys, they've been able to move from TAs into teaching positions and work for those things because we want to retain our assets, our coaches. So that retention is huge. What are we paying our guys compared to what's being paid other places? Things that we have to consider, regardless of sport, things we have to consider in retaining our top assets there when it comes to our coaches. It's one of my pet peeves for somebody to say, I said, well, this is what they're doing in South Carolina. This is what they're doing in Georgia. This is what might be doing across the street, right? And they go, well, that doesn't apply to us. Yes, it does. The mentality of excellence applies to us if we want excellent results. If we don't, then you can't ask for an excellent result football team on the back end. And it's a cause and effect, and we got to understand that. Coach and teacher retention, again, that's above my pay grade, but understand that if we can't retain great teachers, all right, we have a problem retaining great coaches. We're continuing to work on that. I know our county is, but I want everyone to understand how much that affects and impacts the football program because all these guys are teachers first. Year-round view, I went over this last year. I do not believe in spring football itself or in 7-on-7 like a lot of the high school folks do. And I can go into that physiologically, why, all right? Be glad to do that in detail. Probably should do a doggone podcast or something on that, all right? But the whole idea is what we want to do is off season, all right, from December to April is basically physical training and development of top-end strength and speed, right? Things that are going to be able to be applied on the field. And then we want to go in from April, you see that preseason, May to July, and develop all those physical skills to be ready to play in August, from August to December. That's about execution. So that's kind of our model that we want to use and why we do it. Other things we need: new number stencils. I do want a drone to help film practice with. Hoodies for our guys, those we have to raise money for. iPads, continued video. We watch the game in-game on the sideline. Those iPads are necessary to do that. We don't have to do it, but it gives us a huge strategic advantage to be able to look at that. And as those things, the software goes down, there's only so much we can upgrade them. So we have to add those. Also, video glasses we use to film during practice are about $75 to $80 a pair now, and they're a really efficient way for us to get a bunch of different angles on our guys. Sideline cart would have cost us $1,900. You can see the picture in that. Wayne did that himself, and the materials cost us, nothing. It cost him a lot less than $1,900 because he has the ingenuity and the ability to do those things without all that cost, but that was impressive. Next big thing, and what are we planning for? We talked about the vision a second ago, and I don't know exactly, what we're planning on, but precisely one thing, but there are several things I want us to think about and really be dreaming and being creative about. The first one is an indoor facility. You guys have heard me talk about this. I think it benefits everybody. Yes, is it expensive? Absolutely. But I'm not scared of stuff that's expensive, right, and big. I want us to go attack things instead of saying, well, it's not going to happen in my lifetime. Well, not if you don't push for it, right? But how about let's live life and have things happen in our lifetime? Auditorium here on campus, we've talked about those things, and I don't know when this stuff happens. I'm not the policy guy, but I'm giving them an idea guy here. An auditorium on campus that would have our band and chorus folks in a place to produce and do their stuff here on campus would allow that space down there to be renovated. Both folks could really benefit. Allow us to have space for a weight room and other locker rooms down there to do things in the future while giving them their own space to perform. An athletic endowment. And this is kind of an out-of-box thinking, but if we could get folks from, you see the online giving that's tied together, we could get folks to give from all around the country, all right, folks here, and we set up an endowment. And for those of y'all who don't know, I started my high school coaching career in a private school, and they taught about endowment, where we set up a fund, right, where we just take the interest off of it, and we allow that fund to grow in an X amount of dollars. Now, we may not be able to touch it. Some of y'all who know about the High School Athletic Association know about endowment because they created an endowment that they're using for high schools. And we could do that locally with that model. Now, it would take a lot of work and a lot of energy, all right? And it would take some big donors somewhere, somehow, who love the Raiders. But that would allow us to then have a steady income, instead of having to go out and just do small fundraisers. That would help us be able to set it up. So I have a lot of big dreams and things that may scare some people, but they don't frighten us to go after those things. And I want everybody to understand that. And I really want to say this is a picture of the indoor facility in Colquitt County. And I would like us to ask that question instead of saying, what are the problems? Why not us here in Richmond County? Why don't we have the best in the country? Why don't we pull together and work together to create it? Thank all you guys for coming tonight. I appreciate it. Please go support the basketball team.